already did it. With the subs up, you better listen. Coming up, but ain't no competition. Nah, I ain't tripping. All the boys got 'em moving to my flow. Now the girls got 'em dropping low. Going through the most, cause I ain't afraid to grow. Coast to the coast, I'ma hit your radio. Dreaming about it every day. I know that now I'm finally on my way. I know that I've been on my gun, I've been telling myself to do it up for me, not for nobody else. I'm looking what I see. Hit different. When a little mama got a big vision. Hit different. Aiming high, baby, I go the distance. I've been putting in work, putting in time, putting me first. Now my whole life. Hit different. With the bang, ready. Hit different. Ooh, over there, who's the hot one with the long hair? Looky. Ooh, that's me. Mirror, showing I'm a bad bitch. And I don't see the girl that I felt. So down and out on the self. A total mind and body globe down in every cell. Living it up. Oh, and I'ma go and killing it, cause this is what I do. Dreaming about it every day. I know that now I'm finally on my way. I know that I've been on my gun, I've been telling myself to do it up for me, not for nobody else. I'm looking what I see. Hit different. When a little mama got a big vision. Hit different. Aiming high, baby, I go the distance. I've been putting in work, putting in time, putting me first. Now my whole life. Hit different. With the bang. Boom, bang. Boom, bada, boom, bada. Hit different. Boom, bang. Boom, bada, boom, bada. Hit different. Coming in hot, I'ma get in it. Got you feeling that bass when I'm hitting it. With the bang. Hit different. When a little mama got a big vision. Hit different. Aiming high, baby, I go the distance. I've been putting in work, putting in time, putting me first. Now my whole life. Hit different. With the bang, ready. Hit different. Say imitation is the highest form of flattery. Well, I guess using that equation, you must really fucking love me. Now I can bang you on the shit. Check the fit. Got you maxing out the visa, tryna cop the vision. Tryna be oh, but everyone can see you're the cheapo repo pizza, and I'm the Mona Lisa. You're talking while I'm walking by. Look a little green, I know you're dead. Now you want what's mine, so take my advice. Get alive. Love me or hate me, but you're still super shady. Got my name on the daily, but you wanna be just like me. I ain't so fakey, want a piece of this cakey. I'm a superstar, baby. Yeah, you wanna be just like me. Wanna be, wanna be, just like me. Wanna be, just like me. Niggas got me faced. Get up on my lane. I'm a Sachi, you're a safe. I can't be replaced. I'm a shred. Check the fit. You're the cheapo repo pizza, and I'm the Mona Lisa. You're talking while I'm walking by. Look a little green, I know you're dead. Now you want what's mine, so take my advice. Get alive. Love me or hate me, but you're still super shady. Got my name on the daily, but you wanna be just like me. I ain't so fakey, want a piece of this cakey. I'm a superstar, baby. Yeah, you wanna be just like me. Wanna be, wanna be, just like me. Wanna be, wanna be, just like me. Wanna be, just like me. resist what you see. The curves, the heels, the hips. Hit your screen, and baby, now you're mine. Love on me, hate on me, you can get me off your mind. What I got to the top. Some tryna cop how I pop, but they all look calling. I'll be tagging millies while you watch me. Sorry, but I ain't sorry. Get all you want, get what you need. Just know the show is never free. Give me your good, ugly or bad. I still get the bag. Looky at my face, but you wanna taste. Got a lot to say, but you can't look away, babe. Tricky, sucky, hey, make you wanna play. Yeah, you wanna hit it good, wanna hit it like I'm clickbait. Like it, or you don't, I'm gonna get money, make it on the internet. You can call it fake, you can go and hate, but you wanna hit it good, wanna hit it like I'm clickbait. Clap, help me put my money in a big bag. You gon' get me paid. Put your hit or replay. Got my name in your tongue. Stepping all of this steak, make it eat it on front. Do how I do it and let it do what it does. Love on me, hate on me, you can't get enough, baby. Got a black without a degree. Got a magazine VIP. Run it back and you feel the heat. I play the game and y'all want it, so I ain't crying over comments. Stay all you want, get what you need. Just know the show is never free. Give me your good, ugly or bad. I still get the bag. Looky at my face, but you wanna taste. Got a lot to say, but you can't look away, babe. Tricky, sucky, hey, make you wanna play. Yeah, you wanna hit it good, wanna hit it like I'm clickbait. Like it, or you don't, I'm gonna get money, make it on the internet. You can call it fake, you can go and hate, but you wanna hit it good, wanna hit it like I'm clickbait. Ooh, it's a little sad, it's gotta be this way. That you're bitter with the mirror, so you come for me. Looky at my face, but you wanna taste. Got a lot to say, but you can't look away, babe. Tricky, sucky, hey, make you wanna play. Yeah, you wanna hit it good, wanna hit it like I'm clickbait. Like it, or you don't, I'm gonna get money, make it on the internet. You can call it fake, you can go and hate, but you wanna hit it good, wanna hit it like I'm clickbait. Clap, help me put my money in a big bag. You gon' get me paid. Clap, help me put my money in the fat stack. You gon' get me paid.
Welcome back to this channel. It's your resident internet psychic medium and spiritual advisor, Mr. Crane. And hi, my babies. I missed you. I missed all of you. I have a good reason. I have a very good reason for my departure. Okay. I almost died. Crazy, huh? Life is crazy. But jokes aside, seriously, I was in the hospital, so I wasn't online. Yeah, I don't even know where to start with that, other than the fact that it was unexpected, and I'm just glad that I'm here with you guys, honestly. But because of that, I chose reasonably to prioritize myself and prioritize my healing and me and get back in alignment and figure out what was important and what wasn't important and different things like that, and to take care of myself. And so it took me away from the internet for a little bit. So even the things that have been posted was all batched content. It was all batched, and then it was all scheduled, and it was scheduled out for like a month so I can go do what it was that I needed to do for myself. But I missed all of you guys. Seriously, missed all of you guys. Was going to come back on last week, but then didn't feel too good last Wednesday. And so I said, you know what? Instead of overworking myself, I'm going to do the thing that I learned how to do in this experience, which is to be present with myself and to be present with my body and to be present with like what it was that I needed. And, and that took some time. Good news is I'm much better than I was before. And I am still in recovery. We're not back at 100%, but we are much better than we were before, and out of like life-threatening stage, which is where I was before. And it was sudden and it was unexpected and unanticipated, and I didn't know that I was sick and had no idea that something was wrong with me. Just went to the doctor one day because I didn't feel quite right. So they ran a bunch of tests because they were like, this is weird. And then they were like, actually, you got something, like you need to go to the hospital, you need to go to the emergency room, and you need to go like now. And so I did. And then the doctors in there were like, we're surprised you're not in a coma. And I was like, what? Because I had spent like that day and all the days before that working and like running around and like being busy and like living the life the way that I thought, I don't know, you were supposed to live it. I had no idea that it was like that bad, that like you're talking like coma levels bad, like this is bad. But I'm glad that it was caught when it was. I'm glad I had the treatment that I had. And, we are recovering. I'm still in the process of processing, right? Which is probably why my tone is a little bit nonchalant, because it is a lot to process that, like, if you waited, an extra 12 hours, that it's possible that you may have not been there. I'm still in the process of processing that, like, holy shit, like people around me may have gotten a phone call and that phone call may have not come from me. And so it is a lot to digest. And so that's probably why the tone is so matter of fact, because it's still processing. I'm still figuring out what that means to me, figuring out how I feel about it, figuring out where I am in my own grief journey, because a part of me had to die that day. The part of me that had to shed. And I think all those things are okay, but that process takes longer to do than just a month, And it's only been a month. And so we're still processing. But in that month, a lot of things have been going on in my life. And it's really interesting because I've been learning how to prioritize in like a really new way, in a sense that I had to call in the spirit team. And I remember asking them, like, help me do this. Like, how do I have so many responsibilities and obligations, but then be okay doing it, not feel overwhelmed, not feel overstimulated, not feel overworked? How do I do all of that? Because my life is growing, it's not shrinking. And I have like these two arms of like my life. I have like my muggle life that is me steering, like I feel like I'm in control of my muggle life, but then I have my spiritual life of Mystic Rain that recently feels very out of my control, in the sense of it feels like spirit is driving and I'm just a willing participant. And it feels like I had to like make that agreement with spirit. I had to say to spirit, okay, I'm a willing participant, because I was fighting it and it was uncomfortable. So I felt like spirit was trying to pull me this way, and I was like, I'm not really ready, or I'm not really feeling that. Like, hold on. And it just got to the point where I was like, I'm tired of like fighting everything. Right. I think when you go through like a life scare, eventually you're like, fuck it. All right, fuck it. And that's kind of where I ended up. Like, spirit, do what it is that you're going to do. My muggle life is going to do whatever it is that it's going to do, because at this point, I no longer care to try to control too much of any of it, now that I'm recognizing that like none of this shit really matters anyway. So do what you want, and I'm just a willing participant, and I'm here for the ride. But with taking my hands off the wheel, there's like this surge of energy, of like spiritual energy that's coming in, that's like pushing things. And to be quite honest with you, I'm not totally sure where it's going. I just know that it's going in the direction that it's supposed to, and that I'm going where I'm supposed to go, but couldn't really tell you what that actually meant. And, I'm okay with that. But with that comes new opportunities, like new things, like things are changing, new things are coming in. So I'm adapting to new things, new opportunities are coming in. And that has made me busier than I would have liked to have been, considering the fact that I'm currently in recovery, right? And so that's when I was like, well, Spirit, how do I do that? Like, how do I do both? Like, how do I recover and rest and heal? How do I prioritize me? But then how do I get all of this done at the same time? And Spirit said, which funny enough, it sounds so like simple, but Spirit was like, what you need to do is recognize that like you're not supposed to worry every time you do something, right? Like a lot of people like have this sense of like wanting to control because you don't want it to fall apart. And whether it's because you just have a thing where you want it to be right, or maybe you have a thing where you don't want to be wrong, or you don't want to look stupid or dumb. Like for whatever reason, the perfectionism kicks in, right? Their Spirit was like doing things like you don't have to be worried while doing things. But humans a lot of times will attach worry to doing instead of simply just doing. And Spirit was like, if you just do without the other stuff that you're attaching to it, then you wouldn't actually be tired, overwhelmed, overstimulated. You would just be in a state of action. Whereas, like, your state of action is panic. So, I have been working on just being in like action without attaching things to it, just doing and not assigning things meaning to whatever it is that I'm doing. And I've been finding that it's been helping, things have been moving faster and there's less resistance, but it's definitely a practice, right? So, but that's what I've been up to, and that's why I have been gone. Your girl is just taking it easy until she gets all her stuff back. She gets all her energy and her mojo back. That's really all it is, you know? How are you guys doing though? I haven't heard from you in a really long time. For those of you that were here in the beginning, did you like that set list that played in the beginning before the stream started? I'm asking because I had to change the set list. For those of you that don't know, it's incredibly difficult to play music on YouTube. You have to have the licenses for each song in order to play it. This old set list you guys really liked. There was one song in there that there was a lot of feedback for. You guys loved it. But the license for that expired and I don't see where I can get another license for it. And so I had to change the set list and get new licenses, which meant new songs, right? And so this set list that I put together was actually inspired by some downloads that I had for you guys that I actually wanted to give you guys last week, but then didn't feel good. So didn't end up coming on. But that is what actually inspired the new set list that I have. It just sparked all these kind of messages. So, let me know. Let me know how you feel about it. It's very girl power. If you haven't yet noticed, I don't necessarily resonate with all the meditation music. It's not really my vibe. I feel like that's all you get in the spiritual community. And I feel like, okay, we get it. Like I can only hear so many fucking flutes, you know what I mean? Before I'm like, enough. I watched your videos while teaching myself tarot. Oh, you taught yourself tarot? Did you mean you watched the tarot videos? I really hope that you meant that you watched the tarot videos. And then like that's where you taught yourself tarot and that you weren't just like watching my random videos and then like learning on your own in a book, because that would have been sad. Because you had help. Love your old videos. Thank you. Yes, ma'am. Take the time and get your rest. Thank you, guys. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Haven't watched your vids in a while, and I'm glad you're back. Thank you. Good. You watched the explanation videos. I've noticed that with the videos, like there was, and there still is, like definitely like a dip, but then like older people are like returning, which is interesting. One, probably because I'm going back to the same subject matter, which again was also part of my own journey. You want to hear about it? So your girl has coaches now. Why does she have coaches? Because like it's like when people say a therapist needs a therapist type thing. So I was like, let me go work on myself. Sometimes you like to prioritize it. So I was like, oh, let me go take care of this. Right. And one thing that like came out of that, and you guys may actually find this surprising because I found it surprising. Well, maybe you don't. Maybe I just found it surprising. is that over the years, I actually struggled with the fact that I actually made those tarot books, or not the books, the videos. I struggled with that. I didn't struggle with it when I initially put it out, but I struggled with the idea of people recognizing me or knowing about me because of tarot content. So for like those of you that like don't know, right? Palo Santo, by the way, for anyone was wondering what I just burned. For those of you that don't know, Mystic Rain as a name was an act. Well, it was kind of like an accent. The point of having the name as Mystic Rain was to be an alias. It was because I was afraid to be known. And when I really started delving into like the mystical arts and stuff, learning how to do this, learning how to be a psychic, even learning how to read tarot cards, I was really embarrassed because in my day, it was a different time. You didn't talk about it. You didn't talk about tarot cards. You didn't talk about being a psychic or being intuitive. It was very taboo. You did not discuss it. And like if you went to like a psychic class, for example, the psychic classes were always held at night and they were always like out of the way, like in some off street, right? It wasn't in your face like how it is today. The culture has really changed, especially in the last 10 years, where now you can open TikTok and you see tarot cards on your on like the first part of your screen, on your home screen, right? On your For You page. That wasn't the case when I came into this. And so Mystic Rain was to actually conceal my identity, right? And the way that I ended up getting it was because I was in a tarot class and someone asked me my name. My name is Renee. And I told them that my name was Renee. They misheard me. And later in the class, they were trying to get my attention and they said, "Hey, Rain." And I went, "Huh?" And I just instinctually responded to it without thinking about it. And I thought to myself, that's actually really interesting. And so I thought, okay, well, what if I take the name Rain and I use that for my spiritual stuff? So when I'm like in my psychic classes and my mediumship classes, when I'm learning tarot cards, I'm Rain. So no one knows who I am. At that time, like I had a whole separate like was working on like a legal career, right? Like I remember being in law school and I went to class and like a blazer and like a pencil skirt and I had pearls and my hair was in a bun. Like it was very night and day. And I didn't want those things to actually accidentally get mixed up. And I was concerned and scared about if my friends found out what they would think about me, if my family found out what they would think about me. And so I thought that if I had a different name, it couldn't get mixed up, right? So for example, if someone typed it in the internet, on Google, that my real self, my real name, my actual identity wouldn't show up. That's what I thought. And so when I made the tarot videos here on YouTube, there was no intention behind it other than to make the information free. Because at that time, again, because it was so taboo, you could not Google it and find the meanings of the cards. It just didn't exist. Everything was behind a paywall, and I paid for a lot of it. I thought it was crappy material. And so I said, I'm going to do this. I'm going to make it free, right? I'm going to do it as someone that may be seen as a little bit more relatable. I'm going to put it on the internet and then I'm going to walk away from it, which is what I did. Because the channel wasn't anything at that point. It was like some channel on the side of the internet in the corner somewhere. And like no one was checking for me or anything like that. And so I did. And I did it under the name Mystic Rain as well, because it was like, well, no one knows Mystic Rain, right? Like who would search for that type thing? And then I posted the videos and I walked away from YouTube and I didn't have an intention on being on YouTube. I just was like, I did my job. And then nothing happened. And then like 6 months to a year went by. And then I started getting notifications that people were leaving comments. And when I first started getting those notifications, I didn't even look at what they were commenting on. I thought, oh, that's weird. Maybe it's a fluke or whatever. And it wasn't until a month into that I went, what are these people talking about? Like, what are they commenting on? And then when I clicked it, I saw that it was the tarot videos. But even then, I didn't take it seriously. And then, long story short, it got out of hand. It got a little bit out of hand. And I have been spending this time coming to terms with that. I was unaware that I was coming to terms with that, but of being like this tarot girl, because I don't view it as being a core part of my personality, but I also understand that that's how a lot of people met me. And coming to terms with that as well, right? Like, this was a part of my life that I worked really hard to hide, and to then be seen for the part of you that you tried to initially hide is a lot, and it requires a lot of work and a lot of uncovering, and a lot of, well, why did you feel like it had to be a secret in the first place? And a lot of me examining, well, why didn't you think that you were initially going to be, like, approved of or accepted? That was work, right? And there were instances where, like, someone in the family would say something super ignorant, or they would clutch their chest at me, or they would run and go grab a Bible or some bullshit like that, which then reaffirmed that insecurity that I was holding on to. And then, in my 3D life, like, being very stereotypical, like, successful. Like, if you look at, like, my muggle life, like, I'm a Black woman in Atlanta and I have very stereotypical success, right? Like, what you think would be success in Atlanta as a Black person is what I am. Very cookie cutter, right? And then, but then to have Mystic Rain, this whole other side, figuring out how to integrate those two, figuring out how to be comfortable with that, having run-ins with people, and then, doing business. I had a conversation literally this week with the publisher, and it was a team meeting, and they were like, what do we call you? And I was like, I don't know, but I should know, right? Like, that's something that I need to work on. Like, why? I mean, you're doing business as Mystic Rain. You're going to be paid as Mystic Rain. Why are you having a hard time calling yourself that? Right. And so, like, the whole health scare prompted all of that for me to come to terms with all of that. Cause, like I said, like, spirit took over, and there's, like, the spiritual side of my life that is moving right now. And that's part of it, like, clearing that stuff out. And it was also, I had to come to terms with, like, my first book was a book on tarot, and again, it was something that I initially tried to hide, right? Like, as a little girl, I always thought it'd be cool to write a book one day, right? But if you would have told me, like, that it would have been a tarot, like, what? So I had to come to terms with all of that, right? When I found out the publishing date, I had a panic attack. I had to come to terms with all of that. My husband was like, what's wrong with you? Like, are you kidding? It's been a year and a half. I've been watching you work on this thing for like a year and a half, and, like, suddenly you're upset? Like, what went wrong? And I was like, and what did I say? I said, oh, I think this was, in, like, quote, they're gonna read it, like, something like that. He was like, okay. And it was just like this idea of, like, my first words are about tarot. And it's just been like this thing that I had to sort of unravel. And yeah. And I'm in the process of accepting my place, because as time goes on, it just gets super, super, super difficult to, like, separate the two. It's really hard. And I'm realizing that's because it's not supposed to be separated, right? It's not two me's, it's one me, right? It's not supposed to be separated, which is why it's so difficult to keep it separated. And the longer I live in, like, that state of being inauthentic and, like, not being true to who I actually am, because Mystic Rain is actually the most authentic version of who I am, then yeah, the harder it is, and, like, the more I'm in, like, a state of resistance. And so we had to work on that. I had a minute where I was like, So I really am this bitch. Like I am this moment, like that Mystic Rain bitch, that one, huh? Me? Like, wait a minute, hold on. Like I had to like put the two and two together. Like it was a minute, and I don't know, and I think yeah, and it was yeah. So it's been work. It's been work. Hey. Yeah, I do keep it private with my clients and family that I use tarot. Like, yeah, I mean, I totally get it. And it's also not necessarily something that I would say that like everyone, should be out of the broom closet. But I do think that there are some people you start to feel like you start to know when it's time that maybe you need to exit the closet, right? Or maybe you're getting pulled out of the closet or something like that. And so I had to, yeah, yeah. So I've been doing work. And I think, I don't know, it was something, it just, the whole thing was triggering. It was a beautiful process. Like talking to the publisher, it was a beautiful process, which, by the way, I have learned a lot about publishing and about writing in literally the last month. And I realized why it was so confusing in the beginning for me, because I was like, I'm still trying to figure this thing out. I'm still trying to understand the phases of writing. Like I don't really know what it is. And I realized now it's because it doesn't really kick in like that until it's done. And then the publisher kind of steps in and then they start moving in order to sell it. Right. And so then a lot of the pieces start to move. And then I also did a boot camp and things like that, like went into a writer's boot camp because I was like, I really got to figure this out, because there is no hand holding as an author. It very much is like an all for themselves kind of thing. And when you don't know what's going on, like I can easily see how somebody would get swallowed up. You're being pulled out of the closet gradually. Yeah. I don't tell people I do tarot because I feel like a freak show at family events and stuff. The people that know think I'm just a walking tarot card. I come to eat. Yes, yes. Yes, it's the same thing. When is the book signing? That's the publisher is working on that. Yeah, they're working on that. They will let me know where and when I'm booked, and then I will show up. Like, even that was new for me, right? That whole process. Like, when I had a meeting with them, they were like, so you have any events scheduled? And I was like, no. Like, but I'm sensing I should. And so I was like, I'm open. I'm totally open. And then they were like, oh, okay. Well, now that we know that that's what you want to do, we're going to start pitching you to certain places to get you in for signings. And I was like, okay, cool, great, thanks. Yeah, so they're working on that. And then, and hopefully it's successful. So part of the process of like doing a book signing, you have to pitch yourself to like a bookstore. So you need like a bio and you need a pitch and you need like why this helps people and why this is beneficial to customers and why people would be interested in this. Like you have to pitch it. And then so I had to like write up a pitch and then like write up a bio, like an author bio, and send over like a headshot. And then you send it to the publisher, and then the publisher will move their contacts and then try to get you booked in places, which is currently the process. So, well, at least that's happening now. And so, hopefully successful. And when it is, then they'll tell me, and then I'll tell you, I'll put it up on the site wherever I end up. But my hunch is that they'll probably be like in the month of December, because the book publishes in November. So it'll probably be month of December. It's like holiday time and stuff like that. Good for you. That's exciting about your book. Thank you so much. I would travel to ATL just to support you. Keep us posted. Thank you so much. I will. As soon as I know from them, then I'll share that. I'll share that with you. Also difficult to find the right bookstores. So apparently it's not. I was surprised. I thought it would be too. Because I remember saying to them, like, I don't even really know where I would start outside of the few metaphysical stores that I know. And they were like, no, like you can target indie stores. Oh, and then another thing, apparently tarot is huge. Well, I mean, if you're on social media, you probably realize it, but it's huge with Gen Z at the moment. And so you can also do like bookstores on like college campuses or near colleges, and like you can go to bookstores in hipster areas. It doesn't necessarily have to be like metaphysical. It can just be like indie, hipster kind of vibes. And apparently those areas really, really rock with it. So yeah, thank you guys. I'm going to put the link here. So if you want to pre-order, you also get a free ebook as me saying thank you. And I'll show you like where you can go, because it's everywhere at this. I mean, it's like it's up. Like here, actually, I'll just show you, because I've actually had some people like comment and write like, I don't know where to go. Like, is it on Amazon? Is it here? So I'll just show you where you go. Where are we? I'm going to share my screen. Okay. So if you go to the website, my website, which is like justmysticrain.com, I put it on the first page, so you guys don't have to go that far. Okay. So it's literally right here. And then you can get it from Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Bookshop. If you go to the book tab, there's more links here, because in addition to those, here are other websites you can get it from. If you're in Canada, you can get it here in Amazon Canada, and then you can also get it in Amazon UK as well. Here's a link for that over here. If you are like in Australia, it'll be available in a month, because they publish 1 month later. So, and when that happens, I'll have a link for it, but I don't have it now because it's not available over there yet. But you can go here. If you're going to pre-order or order, what I'm going to ask you to do is go to Amazon, and because it's already up, hold on, let me share. There we go. It's already up. And so here's a thing that is also I'm learning. If you guys didn't know, Amazon has an algorithm, and it's like social media. So the more people are engaging with the product, the more the product gets bumped up, and people have an ability to see it. You can also see that I pre-ordered myself, because like, how fun was that? I told everybody, go pre-order it now. So I had to move even my husband. We were in the bed at the same time. I said, did you pre-order my book? You pre-ordered it, right? Yeah, but if you are going to order it, I'm going to ask that you do it on Amazon, because they count the numbers from Amazon. Amazon is where it's like 78%, I think, of all books sold are sold through Amazon. It is like the most important book retailer outside of any other retailer. I think the second is then Barnes & Noble. And so it matters here. And like, that's where the ranking comes in. It's Amazon. So if you're going to order it, please, 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 not actually, if you're not going to order, not if, when you order it, please do it from Amazon. That'll really help me. And it'll push the book up so other people can see it. The pre-order sales, a lot of times, is what will determine the success of a book. It's not necessarily on release date. It's how well it did prior to being released. So I would so appreciate you guys. And then if you guys do that, you guys will get a free ebook, which I'll show you so you can see it. And then all you have to do, oh, that's not the ebook. That's the other book. So it looks like this. Free ebook, right? Called Starting Your Spiritual Practice. Because I recognize too that some people, for them, it'll be like they're like just starting this journey. And they're like, well, I don't actually know what to do. I don't even know. Like, I've had people in the past say, well, what do I burn? Right? For example. So this is all of that information is in this ebook, and it's free. All you have to do is send me an email with proof of purchase, and then I'll send it to you myself as a thank you. But I would so appreciate you guys. Right? I also love free ebooks. Thank you guys. You just ordered it? Yay! Thank you. The silver room? Okay, I'll keep that. I'll keep that in mind, the silver room. Yeah, it is. So Barnes & Noble, it's already hold on. Let me move over there. So Yeah, it's already with Barnes and Noble. You can get it. You just order it online. It's already over there. And then I think the way it works is that like whatever Barnes and Noble store stocks it, I think it just depends on the region and like what's popular in that particular region. And so that'll let you know whether or not it goes there. But I mean, it's already in different places. Like, I mean, I've seen it on a German website and a website from, I believe, the Czech Republic. It's also on the French Amazon, which I didn't know it went that far. So, I mean, it's out there, which is probably what triggered the panic attack where I was like, oh my God, they're going to read it. like, I was like, ah. So, but yeah, I would appreciate all of you. And then shoot me an email. Shoot me an email so I can get you your free ebook. No, I'm not able to see the amount of pre-orders on my end. Nope. I don't know. I don't know at all. And even doing like offering like the ebook that is not helpful because not everybody wants it. Not everyone cares for it. Some people are like, look, I'm just here for the book. Not everyone wants it. There is no way for me to actually know how much is going out or where people are buying it from or when there's no way unless someone sends me a screenshot and I know them personally and I got it from them, there's no way for me to know. Yeah, it is cool that it's going to more places. Yeah, it is. And it's also really surreal too. It feels weird. It feels weird. It feels a little weird. It's exciting, but it feels a little weird because I didn't know my life was gonna make that turn. um, which is really interesting because I've also decided that I'm an author now. You know, I've decided to like do it for real, for real. Not that I like wasn't doing it for real, but no, actually, I wasn't doing it for real. I really thought that this was going to be like a one-off project, and then I was just going to move on, right? But that didn't happen, and so yeah, I'm doing it like for real, for real. Hence why I went into a writer's boot camp where they like teach you how to be an author and like what that actually means, you know? And so, which by the way, did you know that there's a difference between author and writer? Which I did not know. Apparently, an author is the one with like that's generating the ideas. So the person with the original idea, like that's the author, and a writer is just literally someone writing it down. So if you think like ghostwriter, for example, like if you're writing the idea of someone else, like if you didn't generate the idea, then you're a writer. I had no idea that there was even a difference because I was say, oh, I'm also a writer. Apparently that was wrong. I was using the wrong word. So yeah, but I'm gonna like, you know, I'm gonna do this properly, you know? There are already talks for another book, number 2, a tarot book, number 2, as well as a card deck. And I'm also working on a third book proposal for like self-help that's like out of tarot. So I've got a lot going on. Hence why I was like, spirit help. Yeah, you gotta help me. You gotta help me figure this out. You gotta help me figure out this life. Right? I didn't know that. I didn't know that there was a difference. I didn't know that there was a difference, but yeah, it was part of the boot camp because also the other thing that was part of the boot camp was they were like working on our self-confidence. And because one thing I learned from a lot of the other authors in that boot camp was that the like number one like insecurity that authors have is being seen, which is wild because it's like, well, you're writing to be heard, but that's the point. They want to be heard, but not necessarily seen because so many of them are sharing ideas. Like when you think about how often do you have an ability to share your truest version of yourself and your thoughts and your thinking with people? Like how often does that actually really happen? And so when you are writing, that for a lot of people, like when they journal, is the only time their true thoughts are actually coming out. And so, like, the biggest insecurity that authors have is people knowing that they wrote it, people knowing that that was actually their idea, that like that came from them. And that like amount, like there's a huge uptick when it comes to people that are either writing like memoirs or like teaching memoirs, because they're writing about their perspective of what happened in their life. And they're concerned that the people that are a part of that story are going to find out that that's what they really think and that's how they really feel. And so they want to be heard, they want to get it out, but the idea of people being able to attach it to them is actually like a huge insecurity like in the community. And so I thought I was like, I don't know, different. But anyway, so because of that, there was like this whole moment where we're like, we have to work on your shadow. It was a whole moment in the boot camp where it was like, we have to get to the root of like why you feel like you can't be seen in this capacity. Right. And then what came out for me was like, I don't know, like something, I don't know, it felt weird. And then like somebody else had brought up this idea of like success. And then what if people saw or perceived them as like higher or better than, right? And then so I'm in the class like, oh my God, I have that too. And so like the facilitator was like, but like, what's the problem with that? Like, why do you care so much about how you're being perceived? And if you are being perceived as successful, like what's going on there? And then after like getting to the core of it, I was like, because my mom never told me she was proud of me. And it's funny. And also it's sad, right? Because that is the truth. My mother never told me she was proud of me. Seriously, she actually never, no one in my family actually said that they were proud of me. And so I have this huge issue with perfectionism, which started because I was always trying to get approval and acceptance, right? But then never got it. And so because I never got it, that cycle, I never finished it. So I'm always like perpetuating doing more than needs to be done, right? And but then when it came out in this particular circumstance, it was like, well, if I'm perceived as successful, for example, then like my mother is going to be mad at me or whatever. So like that was some of the things that came out. It also came out because it was attached to like my money blocks that I found out that I had that was also attached to my mother. And I thought it was attached to her because she had money blocks and like we were poor, like, you know, but it was deeper than that. It was because my mother, in a very buried, repressed memory that I had completely forgotten about, one time when I was like 17, accused me of thinking I was better than her because I had got accepted into college. And I was so excited. I was like, Mom, I got accepted into this university. And I ran home and I was like so excited to tell her about it. And she was the first and only person I had wanted to tell about it. And her face dropped. And I remember being very confused. Like, why is this doesn't seem like a adequate reaction. Like, why did your face drop? You look disappointed. And she was super silent. She didn't say anything. And when she finally talked again, she snapped at me and she went, you think you're better than me? Like that. And at 17, when you're like, I just want my mom to say I'm proud of you one fucking time. Like I come home with straight A's and like she tells me, well, yeah, I'm not giving you, praise for doing what you're supposed to do, right? Shit like that. But these were buried memories. I didn't even remember that any of that stuff had happened. But like going through like this boot camp where they're like pulling it out of you, like what's that thing? Because writing is spiritual, regardless of the topic, because you're putting your thoughts, your consciousness on paper, and then you're sharing it with people. It's one of the most spiritual things that you can do. And so they were like pulling it out of us, like, come on, like, what is it? We got to find it. We got to find it. And then by the time we found it, I was like, my mom said I was better than her, and I never thought I was better than her, and I just loved her, but she didn't love me. And it was this whole thing. And then I was like, well, that solves a lot of that. That solves a lot of mystery that I was just completely unaware of. But all of that is attached. So when you go out attached to each other, so then when you go out into the world and you are living in your authentic expression, there's work sometimes that has to be done on the other side of that, because it's the first time that you've done that ever. And because of that, you're triggering things and it's coming up and it's bubbling to the surface. And it creates a situation where the only thing that you can do is look at it. And when I first felt it bubbling to the surface, before I could even identify why it was bubbling, I was like, I'm gonna go get me some coaches. I need a little bit of help. I was like, let's go sort this out. Because I don't know what's wrong, but I need someone to help me pull it out. And it was just like the amount of healing and understanding, like the depth of that. I was like, wow, that's super profound. That was how deep that it actually went. And it was a buried, repressed memory that I had completely forgot about. I completely forgot about that moment. But it was really healing. Oh, it should be called, the tarot deck should be called Rye. I know I'm amazing, but I definitely hide. So many people hide. I mean, well, it's safety, right? Like, I think, like, if you go back to like caveman days, right? Well, one, you hid anyway, but two, you had some kind of community. You had a tribe, and the way society is set up, we're all split up. Like, family units stayed together, right? Like, now for some reason, family, like, you'll have a whole family, but then you'll have one person living in like one house or an apartment, or one person's on one side of the country, the other person's on a different side of the country. That wasn't a thing, right? So there was safety in numbers, and you were protected. And then now everyone is so isolated that hiding is probably instinct, to be quite honest with you. I think it's more than just like, oh, we hide out of insecurity. Some of it, I think, is instinctual. Like, you're hiding to like preserve life, right? Because there's this feeling that it's like dangerous outside. But if you want to live life, you have to then go outside. If you want to be able to express yourself in a way that's most authentic to you, you have to go outside. If you want to live a life that is in the most alignment for you, you have to go outside. And like, I know where I'm at in my phase of journey is like going outside. I was laughing at myself the other day because I was like, oh my God, this is the part where I eat my words, because I always say, do it scared, throw up later. And I was like, I'm about to throw up. Like, I feel so sick. But I was like, but in the spirit of do it now, throw up later, I'm going to do it now, and I'm going to go throw up later, right? Because I'm trying to go outside. Because I know that, like, what I feel is my authentic expression is me going outside. And going outside is going outside of the box that I've created for myself, going outside of the box that society has created for me, that my family has created for me, that my friends have created for me, like going outside that box. I had a really good talk the other day with one of my family members, and we don't even talk that often, where I felt finally safe enough within myself to say, this is why I don't interact with the family that often. Which, to be quite honest, I thought I was going to take that shit to the grave, right? But I was like, you know what? Actually, this is the reason. And I was like, I feel very judged. It makes me uncomfortable. I feel like there's a narrative about me that's completely untrue because no one has ever tried to actually get to know me. People know who I was when I was a baby because I'm one of the youngest in the family, but I turned into an adult, like I'm a grown woman, and no one is trying to get to know me as that grown woman. And so you're running with the narrative of when I was 8 years old, but you never let me grow up. And so you treat me like a child, like complete disrespect. And that's something that I don't want to be around. And so I chose not to be around it. But I had the strength to say it. And that person said, you know what? You're right. People do treat you different. And there was something that was so validating where I was like, oh my God, you see it too. So I'm not crazy, because I spent this whole time thinking that I was crazy. So you're telling me that like it exists and that like I wasn't just overreacting. But the thing that was most enlightening was like, no, it exists, but they treat me different too. And so what I realized was that it was everybody, right? And part of that is because they never learned how to love. Not that they don't love, not that they don't love each other, not even that they don't love me. It's just that they didn't learn how to love. And when you're around so many people, because most people are not taught how to love, the love is then abusive, it's manipulative, it is painful and hurtful and ridden with guilt, or resentment. And so it's not that people don't love you or support you. They were never taught how to love. And so eventually you reach a point in your journey where I reached a point in my journey where I said, this is not the version of love that I find acceptable for me. Not that you don't love me, but that this version of love, which I understand is the only version that you have the ability to do right now, is just not acceptable for me. That's it. And because it's not acceptable for me, then it's up to me to then do something about it. And my answer at that time was to then pull back, right? But learning that the love was never absent, it just is they were never taught. That's all that it is. And for a long time, I thought that it was absent. For a long time, I thought that I was not loved or that I was not supported or that I was not liked, right? When truth of the matter is that they have their own journey. And in their journey, they've had many times where they were not loved properly, not supported properly. People maybe didn't like them and didn't support them or treat them kindly. And so what they're now doing is what they learned how to do by other people. And that it's not personal. And that was a huge takeaway, that it wasn't personal, that it hurt my feelings. And that's one thing. And because of that, I then had to make a decision about what I was going to do about that for myself, but that it wasn't personal because they don't know any better than that. They don't have an ability to love me in the way that I would want to be loved because they don't know how. Just like they don't know how to love themselves. It's not that they don't want to love themselves. They don't know how. They weren't taught this and no one showed them. There was no example. There was no representative. There was no representation. There was nobody in the family that was like fighting for their spiritual evolution. And so no one showed them that it was even an option. That you could do that you could live a life that was more loving, that was more peaceful. And so for me, I was like, okay, well, that's what I'm going to do for myself. And I knew that I was doing that already, but I was carrying like resentment. Whereas I think now I had an ability to release a lot of it because I was able to come to terms with, even though these people hurt me, they did the best that they could do with what they knew how to do. They did the best that they could do with what they had. Doesn't mean I had to like it. Doesn't mean that I had to agree with it. But they just did the best that they could do. And that was it, because they don't know any better than that. And so I'm telling you, look, this boot camp, literally all of this came out of a writer's boot camp. They were like, you're creatives, and when you share your consciousness, because that's all it is, it's just sharing here to here, right? It is such a vulnerable experience because it's the first time that someone knew what you really thought. We don't really tell people what we think, even the ones of us that we feel like we're super honest and super down and like where there's still things that we don't say. We may be someone that says a lot, but there's still things that we don't say. And when you're sharing what you say with people, suddenly you're like, oh my God. And then it's more than just like saying it. You're telling me that you're going to print it and then you're going to put it on a shelf. And then I can't wait a minute. So you're going to just ship it out of the country and I can't get this shit back? Like there's something that happens where you're like, oh my God. Like, wait a minute. Like someone slow down. So it's just been that kind of experience. So I've just been working on it. But really quick, because it's been long and I want to wrap because it's already been an hour. I do want to give you the download. We don't have to spend a whole lot of time on it, but I do want to leave you with a message, especially for those of you that are still here. By the way, there are 29 of you in here right now. Can you guys like the video for me? That really, really, really helps. If you haven't subscribed, can you please subscribe for me? That really, really, really helps. And then can you also help the people on replay? Let me back up. For my replay people, not my live people, my replay people, can you please timestamp the start of the video so anyone that comes in after you knows where to start and they're not lost in the video? I would really, really appreciate that. Thanks for sharing. It makes me feel less alone that sometimes people perceive me to be their Oh, yeah, they do. They do. And sometimes it sucks, but then sometimes it's okay. But that's work, right? And you just have to get through it. No, you definitely do not have to be someone that you're not. Embracing my I don't give a fuck era has been so liberating. I've been blown away by how saying what I truly feel has transformed how people treat me. And then you said, with tact, of course. Do you journal? Because I'm so curious. Like, if you said how you really felt, but you wrote it down and you knew no one was going to read it, or you thought a lot of people wouldn't read it, I'm very curious if it would say the same thing. Would the tone be the same? The love is never absent. They were taught love in different ways. That's interesting. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, here's your message. I want to leave you with this. And because I said in the beginning that the message was, is my wig sliding back? I feel like there's just so much forehead. Let's go ahead and just move this baby forward. Just was just a lot of shine. In the beginning of the video, I said that the set list was actually inspired by the message that came through. And so the message that came through was just that you guys have just been doing a lot of work and you've been serious about your development, working harder, being better, and then getting what you feel like is yours and getting what it is that you actually want to have, right? And with that, people are actually noticing that you're changing. Now, people may not know specifically what's happened or how you've changed, but there has been a shift in your energetic field. So your field is different in a good way, not in a bad way, but it's just different. And so people have picked up on that, but they don't know why. Everyone can sense energy, but not everyone has the awareness of what it is that they're sensing. And so that will sometimes rub people the wrong way. So if you have been having situations where you've been noticing that, like, you catch someone's facial expression and it was just a little off, maybe it felt a little microaggression-y, but you weren't able to really properly clock it, right? Or if you feel like people are looking at you a little bit harder or a little bit longer, or like it's like a lingering gaze or something like that, it's because they sense that there's something about you that's a little different, right? Or maybe you're talking and you're noticing people saying, okay. Or that's interesting that you would say that. Or I haven't heard you say that before. Like they're noticing it like a tweak, but they can't place it, right? So it's being felt. And so the message is just keep going and know that as you're on your path and you're pursuing what's for you, that there are going to be people that support you and there are going to be people that love you. Some of the love, right, won't be in a way that you want it to be. Doesn't mean that you have to accept it either, right? But that also it will trigger people into looking at themselves and then realizing what they're not doing for themselves. So when they see you going after your happiness, it makes them look at how they're not going after their own. And sometimes people don't like this. And a lot of times they will lack the awareness of being able to identify that that's the reason. But what it is that you're a mirror and you're reflecting back to them. Every time you do something new for your change, for your growth, for your development, will mirror back to other people who are not actively trying to grow, that they are not actively trying to grow. And they won't like that because they won't know specifically what's going on, right? Your job is just to keep moving forward. That's it. Just to stay in motion, because the only thing that will slow down any level of manifestation is to stop. That's it. It's just to stop moving. If you want to continue bringing things in, you got to continue to move, right? That's just kind of the trade-off. And so that was the message. And so if you go back and you listen to the set list, I think the set list is a very sassy way of walking you through the journey and the process, right? Of what it feels like to like start being noticed by people, start being seen by people. And then the feeling in between when you're like, oh, I just feel like what happened here? Like, why is the relationship not quite right? Or why are we like at odds with each other? And then to the end of that journey where you just kind of accept it and you're like, okay, like whatever, I'm going to use this to my advantage. I think the songs were just a really fun way to doing that. Also, I love girl power music, right? So that is a message that I got that I wanted to leave you with. And I will let you ponder over that. For those of you that have pre-ordered the book, thank you so much. Send me an email so I can get you your free the copy of a free copy of your ebook. Okay, starting your spiritual practice. I want to make sure that you have that. So just shoot me an email with proof of purchase. We'll go ahead and we'll get you the ebook. Okay? Okay, guys? Okay? Yes, you journal. It's so crazy. I used to censor my journal entries because my biggest fear was someone finding it when I died. Not when you died. You know what's funny? I'm actually the opposite. I remember being a kid, like writing in a journal and then being like, when I kick the bucket, I don't give a fuck. Like what people see. I'm dead, bitch. Summon me. Tone would definitely be different if I knew folks were reading my journal. The journal is my safe space to say it was uncensored. When you grow change, it doesn't inspire other people. It confronts them. Yes, it so confronts them. Thank you for creating. Question mark. You're welcome. Question mark. Thank you. You are more than welcome. You are more than welcome. All right, guys, I'm going to get out of here. I love you guys so much. Thank you for giving me the time I needed to rest and heal. And I will see you all hopefully next week. And I'm saying hopefully because I'm still prioritizing my health right now. And if I feel like my health needs to take priority next week, then I'm going to do that, right? But I don't plan on quitting YouTube, right? So I will be back. All right, guys. Love you all. Bye.